Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan, and the topic of this 10-minute moan is Nicola Sturgeon being told to beat it by folk from within the SNP. And just before I go into the story, a lot of people ask how they can help the channel. Dead simple, 1 second it takes, click the thumbs up and watch what happens to the views. Okay, so Nicola Sturgeon, The headline in the Scottish Daily Express today, they're taking a story that was in the Sunday Times and adding on to it. The Nicola Sturgeon faces SNP demands to stay out of general election campaigning as former First Minister's fall from grace continues. The former First Minister, who for years has been a huge electoral asset for the SNP, has been urged to keep a low profile and not publicly campaign following Operation Branch Forum. This Nicola Sturgeon's massive fall from grace is set to continue as she faces calls to stay away from the SNP's general election campaign due to fears she will overshadow the party. The former First Minister faces becoming the black sheep of the nationalist movement. She used to rule with an iron fist. Earlier this week, her husband Peter Morrell was charged with embezzling funds from the party he was chief executive of for more than 2 decades, with Ms Sturgeon herself still a suspect in Operation Branch Forum. She told reporters on Friday that this was an incredibly difficult time for her. She wasn't kidding, huh? And now, one of her former cabinet secretaries and SNP grandee has urged her to stay out of the public eye and away from any election campaigning. Alex Neil served under the former First Minister, but has become an outspoken critic of the current SNP government. He told the Sunday Times, "We have got to face the facts. The party is facing an uphill struggle at the general election. The last thing we need is for people to be reminded of the shame and legacy associated with Nicola Sturgeon. She should sit this one out at home." SNP figures are fearing a bloodbath at the next general election as polling predicts that the party will lose a majority of MPs the next time Scots go to the polls. We previously told how a mega poll suggested that Humza Yousaf would win only 19 seats, a huge drop from the 48 he won in 2019, and would finish behind Labour in Scotland, who are estimated to net 28 seats. Ms Sturgeon has already dodged regular appearances at the Scottish Parliament despite vowing to be a strong backbench voice for her constituents. And now she will need to avoid more public scrutiny after her husband was charged with embezzlement. But Mr Yousaf has already claimed that he would want her involved in a general election campaigning, telling Robert Persson last month, "She's one of the most successful politicians in Europe. She's got a formidable track record in terms of election victories. Why on earth would you not want her to be involved in that election campaign?" So I'm certain that she's absolutely will be involved in the election campaign right throughout between now and whenever that general election is called. The Sunday Times quoted a figure previously close to Ms Sturgeon, who claimed that they would suspend her now after the latest Operation Branch Forum revelations. A Westminster SNP source added, "Our lowest assessment of what would happen in a really, really bad night at a general election was we would win 15 seats. Now people are saying if the election was held tomorrow, we wouldn't get anywhere more than that. That's the impact Murrell's arrest has had." Miss Sturgeon was meant to attend a fundraising event for the nearby SNP MP Chris Stevens on Friday, but pulled out following the Morrell news. She also appealed for privacy from journalists who camped outside her home to ask about the latest revolutions. Mr Yousaf did reference Operation Branch Forum when he gave a speech at his Glasgow independence rally on Saturday. He said, "The last 48 hours have been tough. They have been a shock for those of us in the independence movement and the SNP. Let me say this, you can't always control what happens in life, but you can choose in how you react. When it comes to obstacles that come your way, just because obstacles are thrown your way, are we going to pack up and go home? We are going to fight for what we believe in. In the last few days, they have said the independence movement is finished. You don't look finished to me, my friends. Here endeth the sermon. Now, isn't that fascinating? Because I remember it well, Humza on TV last month, saying he was very adamant that Nicola Sturgeon would be present and active during any upcoming Westminster election. I remember it. Now you've got others in the SNP saying, no, don't come near us, Henry, right? Because you're just mad, right? You're just bad news and we've had enough, right? That's basically what's happening here. And I'm lapping it up. The other interesting thing was that they have went to print saying that she's still a suspect in branch form, which is only a small thing in a big article. But I picked up on that the first time I read it. That's a big, brave statement. So they must be very, very sure that she's still a suspect. Now, this ties together with something I was told pre-Christmas. What I was told pre-Christmas was there's been 3 people arrested and released with branch forum. With our investigations getting bigger, then they're looking at even more people than the 3 that were originally arrested. That was Peter Morrell, Nicola Sturgeon and Colin Beattie. Is there one extra or more than one? I don't know. But I would be very surprised if Peter Morrell is the last person to be arrested under branch forum investigation. And the other thing that I need to point out, when he was arrested, the police said that branch forum was still an ongoing investigation. If Peter Morrell had been arrested and charged as he has now, and that was it, then it wouldn't be a live investigation anymore. It would be a live prosecution. So, sometimes the smallest words are the ones that are the most important. And I just can't see how. I really hope she does, by the way. I hope she does go front and centre in her election campaign, because it'll not do them any favours at all. If anything, it'll put more people off voting for the SNP in the Westminster elections. And up until recently, I was predicting between 20 and 25 seats for the SNP. I'm still there, but I'm prepared to accept that I might be wrong. I might have over-exaggerated the amount of seats that they won. It is possible and probable that the more news that comes out, the less seats they're going to get. So it's all just down to timing. Timing and what happens next with branch forum, timing what happens next with the Tories in Westminster calling an election. But I think the wise money's still on September, October, November time. So that's sort of 3-month window. Now, having it later might be a great thing for folk like me that don't like the SNP, because every day, every week, I mean, last week, I think every day there was some real bad stuff coming out about them. And who's to say, it will not get worse the longer we go. But it's all about timing. We could get an election called, somebody else very important could get arrested, and the whole thing backfires on the SNP and makes it look even worse. So, there we go. Nicola, who was the golden child for a long, long time, she's been out of power just over a year now, and there's people in the SNP telling her, don't come near us, please just stay away. How fortunes can change. You think how long she's been a politician, and basically 12 months has ruined her. And long may it continue. So, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, please do so. Get involved in the comments below. But most importantly of all, as I say at the end of every video, unless Humza Yousaf, the SNP, their cult, or anybody being currently investigated under the branch forum investigation, everybody else in the world, have a great day. Cheery bye now.